Today in the frozen north. Last night was minus 36 with the wind chill. It was very cold. I flushed warm water into the pond system last night before I went to bed, so it has lessened the amount of ice. It's so cold that the main water drop is icing over. That water comes from the top pond here, and you can hear how crunchy the snow is as I walk. The colder the temperature, the more the snow crunches and squeaks. And there is the koi. They're down there, and there's a nice batch of hornwort. Comes right to the surface there, and the water appears to be flowing very slowly, but it's the same amount of water flow. It's just that it's no longer splashing, and the hoses are right at the top of the water, so it's a quieter flow. And the koi are all alive and well, and so is the hornwort. It's nice to have hornwort. And it's sunny on the 5th of January. First video for 2015. The red floating heater is right there, covered in ice and snow. And I think you can see the shadows of some goldfish down there. That's the middle pond. And down to the bottom pond, there's two openings. There's one here where there's a pump about 200 or 300 gallons an hour. It's just aimed upwards, so that shelf doesn't freeze so hard. And there's an opening there where the water drops, although it's covered in ice, but just after it you can see the water flowing. And nobody's walked on the bottom pond today. There's no prints, and I accidentally left the hose a little too long, so sort of made a nice covering of ice. And I topped up the pond system. It really topped it up. And look, minus 36 with the wind chill. But there's hornwort. Oh, hornwort. It's good to have a vicious weed in the dead of winter in Canada, in the pond. That way at least something is growing. And there is the yellow flag. It's all covered in snow, and the fish love to winter and hide underneath the roots. That's about it. It's warming up. It feels warmer now that the sun's out. I wasn't going to take little Rio out. There's the work I've been doing. Don't mind the mess. There's the newly rebuilt greenhouse. Well, I had to fix this end. It was all burnt. And I've got several layers of plastic. And the 2x4s are this thick, so there's a layer of air in between that traps. It's cold. You can see how thick the door is, and there's a layer of air in there. The steam all runs in. Oh, it's nice and cozy in here. And the thick layer of air, and there I have added plastic to the peak here. So what I've done is there's several layers of plastic on top, then there's another layer that drops a bit halfway, and then there's this layer right above my head. I can walk underneath this board with like an inch to spare. It's actually quite nice and warm in here. So I'll turn that fan down a bit. I know I said I wasn't going to burn candles, but now they're in properly containers, and I blow them out when I'm gone, except for these little tea lights. They don't get really big, and they're in a nice secure little area. Tea lights don't suddenly turn into a big flame because they don't have a big wick. But the trouble last time was some of those thick candles like these ones here, sometimes if the wick isn't in the center and it's off to the side, it'll burn really fast, and then you get a huge flame. So I have one there, but it's in a special little container. So hopefully there'll be no more fires. I know I'm trying to be careful, but the candles are just so pleasant. I know. The Rio has a little area to run, and the tea lights are safe in a container like that. I know what I did last time was wrong. I had a little fire and I had to fix everything up. It's my little heater here, and I can turn it down because it's not too bad now. There we go. It doesn't have to be so warm. Finally, everything's back to normal and actually warmer. And now that with this layer of plastic on the roof, it's not condensating, right? There's less condensation. You can tell if you're losing heat if the walls are condensating. So there's a thinner layer of plastic behind there, and there's a bit of condensation. And I could have had an extra layer on that side, but I haven't done it yet. This went through the fire and it was dead, and then it was burnt, and I thought that was it for it. But look, it's coming back. And there's some things from last fall. And no, I'm going to take these succulents and divide them. So I have a little bit here and there. Some is dead still, but this is coming back. And lots of it is coming back. So I'll have enough shoots to start things fresh. And then, of course, I bought a new jade because my jades all died. And with this one here, I can make lots of succulents. And that's today in Canada.